problem I have with rebellion.
Rebellion is usually a thoughtful gesture.
At just 10 years old, she was already addicted to.
That's exactly the age where you need some guidance.
What was the mother doing?
She was taking young Drew to parties and clubs.
She would go her way and I would go my way.
I came home drunk and trashed the house.
Drew, go away. Nobody wants you anymore.
She created a monster.
Drew Barrymore's story is a whirlwind journey of fame, betrayal, and resilience. Once Hollywood's golden child, she quickly rose to stardom, capturing hearts with her charm and talent. But behind the glamour, her life took unexpected turns, marked by challenges and control from those around her. Refusing to remain silent, Drew issued fiery warnings, reclaiming her narrative and proving her strength in the face of adversity. Her journey is a testament to her enduring spirit and determination to overcome the odds.
I've been through a lot. A real lot. Like lots and lots. So much, really, that I wrote a song about it. Hit it, Cheryl. Now in my younger days, my life was like a haze. I used to drink a lot, and then I smoked some pot.
She drank and smoked all night, and it was out of sight, and everything was great, but she was only 8.
My touch,
The pretty funky hands for Miss Jade Barrymore.
Yes, you heard that right. The same Drew Barrymore who stole our hearts as the adorable girl in Eat found herself in rehab at just 13 years old. Shocking, isn't it? Drew has never shied away from opening up about the chaos that consumed her early years. Trust me, her journey from innocent stardom to spiraling out of control is as wild as it gets, filled with twists and turns that are both heartbreaking and inspiring.
Drinking and realized,
Where would you get alcohol from at 9?
Parties, friends, bars, clubs.
What were you doing at bars at 9?
A lot of the time it was for parties that I was invited to. A lot of the time I would walk up and they would be like, oh, it's little Drew Barrymore.
As you've probably guessed by now, Drew's childhood wasn't a fairy tale filled with bedtime stories and lullabies. Instead, it was a whirlwind of wild Hollywood nights, all set in motion by her mother, Jade Barrymore. By the age of 9, Drew was drinking. By 12, she was experimenting with illegal substances. And by 13, she had already been to rehab twice. Her chilling words still echo today. They stole my childhood, my innocence, my voice.
That it was a way of life that was just normal to be living.
It was that great escape that you look for when you're younger, and when you do, your problems in normal life seem so much bigger that you just, you kind of do more just to get away from them.
Over the years, Drew hasn't held back about her rocky relationship with her mother, Jade Barrymore. She once said, "There were times I thought we'd never speak again." And honestly, can you blame her? Things got so bad that Drew made the jaw-dropping decision to legally emancipate herself at just 14 years old. 14! While most teens were worrying about school crushes, Drew was out there shaking hands with her mom, officially cutting the cord. Afterward, she found herself living with legendary musician David Crosby and his wife for 2 months. Talk about a plot twist, right? But let's rewind, because the drama doesn't start there. It goes back even earlier, and when you look at those moments, the story becomes even more heartbreaking.
And when you go through those 2 doors, you do not come out. And I was there for a year and a half, and I hated it. I kicked, I screamed. 1 minute
Drew's childhood wasn't filled with bedtime stories or Barbie dolls. Even before she was born, her parents were locked in a toxic and volatile relationship. Drew's mother, Jade, believed that having a baby might save their failing marriage, but it only made things worse. One night, while Drew was still in the womb, her father, John Barrymore, beat her, possibly intending to harm Drew. The mistreatment was so severe that someone eventually heard Jade's cries and rushed her to the hospital. From the very beginning, Drew's life seemed destined for turmoil. The Barrymore family had been entrenched in Hollywood for generations, but not in a glamorous way. Drew was born into a legacy of actors that dated back to her great-grandparents. Her father, John Drew Barrymore, was one of the most prominent figures in the family, but his career and life were overshadowed by his struggles with alcohol addiction, a pattern deeply rooted in the Barrymore bloodline. Tragically, John's own life was shaped by trauma. At just 15 years old, he faced significant challenges, which set him on a destructive path of heavy drinking, eventually claiming his life at the age of 60. With all this being said, Drew's mother was determined to make her a star, no matter the cost. Jade started auditioning Drew for acting roles when she was just a baby. In fact, when Drew was only 11 months old, she landed her first commercial, marking the beginning of a career that would be shaped by her mother's relentless pursuit of fame. On top of that, old clips of young Jade Barrymore in interviews have resurfaced, shedding light on how unfairly she was treated during her childhood, a truth that often went unnoticed for years. Many viewers were shocked to see how a young girl, barely out of her childhood, was subjected to flirtatious banter with men of all ages. These moments created an uncomfortable and heartbreaking reality, revealing just how much Drew had to endure at such a tender age.
At 11 months,
This is a baby, and this is a baby. They both have special nutritional needs. That's why a baby should have his very own baby food, and why a puppy should have his very own puppy food.
That's you right there, right? You were 11 months old. Now, there's no way you can remember doing it.
That was my first job.
She partied with adults, many of whom treated her as an equal rather than the child she was. Reflecting on those years, Drew realized that those so-called friends didn't care about her well-being. They enabled her downfall. By the time she was 11, she was fully immersed in the world of addiction, her life becoming a tragic cocktail of drinking, smoking, and partying. Her mother remained oblivious, or willfully ignorant, allowing Drew's lifestyle to spiral out of control. Things came to a head when Drew was cast in Babes in Toyland, a movie filmed in Munich, Germany. While there, she reportedly partied with Rod Stewart, staying up all night and causing enough commotion to nearly get kicked out of their hotel. Stewart even invited her to join him on tour, but her mother surprisingly said no. This was likely more about preserving Drew's career than actually protecting her. By the time Drew returned to the States, her substance use had escalated, and her work offers began to dwindle. Hollywood producers started blacklisting her, wary of her tarnished reputation. Yet the public image of Drew was being carefully curated. She even became part of First Lady Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign against illegal substance use. A bitter irony considering her personal struggles. One of the most heartbreaking parts of Drew's story is her complicated and deeply strained relationship with her mother, Jade Barrymore. Imagine being just a kid and realizing that the person who's supposed to guide and protect you is the same one taking you to nightclubs instead of school. That's exactly what Drew admitted in her memoir Wildflower, where she revealed that her mother lost all credibility as a parent. In her first memoir, Little Girl Lost, Drew shared that she started pouring liquor over her ice cream at just 7 years old. By 9, she got drunk for the first time at none other than Rob Lowe's birthday party. That same year, her mom took her to the infamous Studio 54 nightclub, kicking off a routine of regular clubbing that became their twisted version of mother-daughter bonding. For Drew, the nightlife was like Disneyland, but for adults only.